guys, welcome back. We just finished part 1 and now we're getting ready to start part 2. Part 1 was our greater than symbols, and if you want to make them pretty, you can take your highlighter if you have one or a marker. Be careful again because markers will leak through on your paper, and just trying to make them pretty and stick off the paper. Now, for part 2, we're going to do the less than symbols, and the less than symbols go in the opposite direction. So because I have limited space, I'm going to pick this up and I'm just going to fold it backwards so that we only see the bottom 2. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the less than symbol and the less than or equal to symbol. Okay? And just like we did on the top, we're going to write those words up here. We're going to say less than. And this one has that extra bar. Pardon, my lighting's not so great. And so we're going to say less than or equal to. Okay, and if we want, we can start off by making them pretty. We can go ahead and take our highlighter so that they stick off the sides. Okay, and I'll give you a moment to finish that. Okay, so the only thing we really want to make sure we're stressing here is that word or, because it does include this. If you get kind of confused, I just draw this very, very lightly. If these are less thans, when you read the symbol from your left side to your right side, you're going to see the small side first, and that's why we know it's a less than, and this real big side is going to be on the back. Okay, and that's the same for this one up here. I know this is a less than because when I read it from left to right, we always read it from left to right, just like we're going to read a story, or when we take our notes, we write from left to right. Okay, and so this would have the big side. And again, this is less than because the first thing I see is that small point. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to open this up and we're going to look at the less than sign. And what we're going to do is we're going to write other words that mean less than. Okay, so we can say that we have fewer than. Another way we could phrase this is we could say it's below. And then, of course, my favorite, the one that's just obvious, is less than. Okay. And then on this other side, we're going to write what it looks like, how we would read it, and that kind of stuff. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say x is less than 3. I'm going to use the same number so that you can kind of compare how they all look a little bit the same, but yet different. Okay, so we would say that x represents numbers, so, and I don't know which number, so I'm going to say all numbers, but it's not every number in the world. It's all numbers less than 3. And so to help us understand it, that's why we draw the picture. And the picture today is going to be that same number line as we did in the first video, but this time, maybe I might move 0 more towards the middle. And I'm going to throw in some more negative numbers, not too many more, just maybe one more over here on the left side. And so I have this number line, and what I want to do is I want to draw a point that represents the 3. The reason I'm using the 3 is because the 3 is in my inequality statement, okay? And so I'm going to go to my 3, and I'm going to make what's called that open circle. And the reason I'm using the open circle is there is no equal sign. And we're telling the reader, you know what, 3 is not part of the answer. It's like a bumper. But it's every number all the way up to 3. So 2.9999999 and so on works. But 3 itself does not. It has a special open circle bumper. Now, if I want numbers that are less than 3, I'm looking for things that are smaller. And those numbers are on the left side. So my arrow is now going to go to the left side. And the numbers that you could say are a solution are these numbers, like a -2, a -1, a -1/2, 0, and so forth. All of the numbers on the left side of 3 are a possible solution. And again, I want to write down here that this is an open circle. Okay, and I just want to write it one more time. The reason why it's open is because 3 is not, okay, make sure that word is big, not part of the solution. And yes, I'm going to have to turn my paper again, and that's okay. I put my period, okay? So now we have our less thans. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go kind of like to its partner, less than or equal to. And this means that it has one more answer that the less thans don't. Okay? It has the actual number. It's equal to it as well as all those numbers that are smaller. Okay? So let's open it up and let's put some words that could represent this less than or equal to. A very popular one is at the most. Maybe your parents are having a party or letting you have a party, and they can say, at the most, you can invite 10 people, okay? So if at most I can have 10, well, 10's the highest number I can have. Anything over 10, my mom's going to close the door and not let them in, and that would be embarrassing. So I could have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, friends over. So at the most, no more than. No more than. Not above. Do not go above 10 people, or we won't have the party. Not above. Does not exceed. And then my last one, which is always my favorite because it's the obvious one. It just actually says what it is. And that is less than or equal to. Okay? So we're going to come in this next section of our foldable, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the time to write out what it would look like. It's going to say x is less than or equal to 3. Okay, you're still using that number 3 so that you can compare all the number lines at the end. And so we're going to write in words how you would say it, and it's all numbers less than or equal to 3. And that big difference is right there, that or equal to 3. You're adding in the 3 where the less than says, nope, you can have anything up to 3, but 3 is not possible. Okay, so in here, you're going to draw my number line again, very much like the number line you drew up here. Okay, in fact, you can kind of make them Twinkies. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on this other side, we're just going to throw in some negative numbers as well. And notice how these numbers on the number line match up. They are opposites of each other. Okay. So I'm going to go in here, and since I know there's an equal sign in there, I'm going to make sure I used a closed point, a closed circle. And that closed point is going to go on the 3, again, because 3 is the number that's in my inequality statement. If that number changes, then the point goes somewhere else. It goes on the number that's given. The closed because of the equal, and then the less than means numbers that are smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that arrow all the way to the left here. And now my answers or my solutions are 3 and everything under the number 3, all the way down to negative infinity. So last thing we're going to write is we're going to write closed circle one more time, a closed point, and this is very important, okay? And the closed circle simply says the 3 is included in the solution, okay? When we say solution, when we say that word right there, solution, what we mean is all the numbers that we could replace x with. Okay, that's what the number solution means. I can include 3 or any number less than 3, and this inequality would be a true statement. And that's what the word solution means in all of these up here in our foldable. Okay, so let's just quick review and then we'll be done. At the top, the first thing we have is our greater than symbol. We wrote it greater than. We used an open circle, and our arrow went to the right to show us bigger numbers. And the next one, we had greater than or equal to. Here we used a closed circle because of the equal sign, and again, the arrow went to the right because of the greater than symbol. The next one has the less than symbol. And of course, it's the words less than. Okay, and in this one, we use that open circle again because there was no equivalence here. And our arrow this time went to the left because we wanted to show the numbers that were smaller than 3. And finally, we have the less than or equal to, okay, right through here. And we put a closed point or a closed circle on 3 because of that 3, and 3 is part of the solution or the answer. 3 is a number that will make this inequality true. However, 3 will not make this inequality true. And on this one, it can be 3 and all the numbers below it. Please have your foldable ready and bring it to our next class, as we're going to use it to help us write some inequality statements from real-world situations.